because she's still in Florida. The first order of business is to review and approve the minutes of the 3/12/24 meeting for 52 Fox Road. So, you want to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion that the minutes of March 12th, for the testing and field minutes be approved, and this is the one for March 12th.
Second. Okay. You want to second it, Cheryl?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? So next, we're on to, we did have, originally on the docket, we had a request for reconsideration by Richard Hubble, but they withdrew their request. Yes. Day before, it was the day before yesterday. So we can just go right on to the request for special exception to section 204.1B for a home occupation auto repair service garage at 326 North Road. And anybody have any conflict of interest or bias?
I have some questions. Oh, this is just you guys?
This is just us. It's at some point we will get to the, you're in a butter, right? So you'll get your time to start. No, it's just.
Let us get out of first gear.
Yeah. So where's that with that? Okay, file provided and kept by the town. It's apparent that proper notice has been given to the parties directly concerned, the public, abutters, through newspaper advertisement, by mail, and by public posting virtually and actually of the agenda for the meeting. To summarize the appeal, the owners of 326 North Road have applied for a special exception to section 2041B for a home occupation auto repair service garage. Established jurisdiction and type of review and role of the board. The board's jurisdiction to hear the appeal comes from MRS 30-A section 4353 and Town of Spring Island zoning ordinance section 603. The town has confirmed that the applicants have paid all applicable fees, and the applicants have provided documents establishing ownership of the properties in question. To summarize the appeal, the owners of 326 North Road have asked for a special exception to section 2041B for a home occupation auto repair service garage. Such an establishment is allowed in the Island Business District, according to section 204.2A.13. To be granted a special exception, the applicants must meet the 7 criteria listed in section 603.2C. If the special exception is approved, the applicants must then submit a detailed site plan to the planning board for approval. But any conditions imposed by the Board of Adjustment and Appeal shall be binding upon the applicant and upon the planning board. And normally, after that step, you would apply for a building permit. So we'll get into the building. Right, so we'll get into that. So first, we are reminding the speakers to step up to the plenum once they are recognized by the chair. Second, the hearing will be conducted by having the applicants present their case, followed by questions from the board, and then we'll hear from the code enforcement officer, and then abutters, each in turn, followed by questions from the board and by applicants and those direct effect. In the final portion of the hearing, we will hear rebuttal comments from those who testified earlier, and we'll take questions from the general public, after which we will close the hearing to public comments and begin deliberations. We hope to decisions. Yes. So first up are the applicants. You want to step forward, unless you want to go on your voices.
Not quite sure what exactly you want me to say. We're trying to do an auto repair shop, 326. Cement floor inside there, insulated. We put some rock wool in the walls They still haven't done the ceiling yet. That's gonna be the type of flow and insulation that's also a sound barrier, fireproof. You know, if you have any questions, I'm not quite sure exactly what. We put the doors away from the road so that we would lessen the impact of noise towards the neighbors or towards the road. Also get the traffic away from the road that way, so.
Explain a little bit more how it's gonna be used. I mean, I know you got a lot of machinery around there, I assume, but you tell me what on campus.
So part of the garage is gonna be used, or I have two bays, two big bays. And I made the garage basically to fix my machines, and then possibly work on some cars. So, half of it is gonna have a lift, and the other half will not. Oil change, small mechanic stuff, no painting, no, body work done. Yeah.
This is already done by you?
By me and Tanner,
Okay.
mainly Tanner.
So-
I'll be fixing my machine in there, and I'll be fixing my own personal items in there, so. Everything will be done inside. So nothing will be done outside of the garage. You have a question?
Cheryl, do you have questions about this initial part?
I do not.
Can you explain how it came about that you did you decide afterwards that you wanted to perhaps work on cars other than your own after
Yes.
the build? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
So the
just,
initial building, when I first started building the garage, was just to work on my machines out of the rain, snow, but and then with Tanner working with us and being a mechanic, we saw the need that town needed people to work on cars, so we pursued it.
After that too.
oh, good.
Oh, anyway, so, my daughter Jade and Tanner, we have a parcel of our land that we have given to them for them to build a house. And Tanner has been out here doing some mechanic work and has wanted to, eventually have his own garage out here and, service the island. After we started, if ideally they want to at some point establish their home and possibly their own garage. So with all of that, I mean, we've been talking about getting a garage since we built our house. That was always going to be there and would be there, but we thought it would be an opportunity to establish the business to help them get their own building business by using a bay and garage. Does that make sense? So that's kind of how this all came about.
Okay.
But ultimately, the garage is ours and it's for us, and we would have had it no matter what. It was,
You got the chickens at the garage.
basically.
Yeah.
And the greenhouse.
In the greenhouse.
But yeah,
Okay.
we plan to just have it. We did set it up that way, not necessarily for the automotive business, but just for the fact of the neighborhood and island friendly, trying to make it so that it wasn't facing the road, basically, so it was not as obvious that
Did the former code enforcement officer come out and look at it,
Yes,
work on cars other than?
yes. Yeah, when I put the application in for the building permit, I told them, basically just to work on my stuff. So on my vehicles and on my equipment. And it just grew into this. So an opportunity for them to, you know, to start out fresh as a new company, you know, to have to show that you're needed.
Right.
And that you have the work there. So that's what we're trying to help them out with, is establish the background.
It's certainly easier to live out here than to actually have a business and not letting somebody on it.
Yes.
Yeah. Do we know if, is Tammy there? I don't think so.
I'm gonna call her and just see.
Yeah, do you want to? I have it. Okay. Do you want to call her?
Text her.
And just so she can give us a little more of a rundown. She was, usually when we get these applications in, there's a bit more description than yes or no. And so, I mean, yes, yes, and no answer to the question. Usually people like, no, I'm not trying to, it's just like, usually people say, yeah, so I have this 2-story building and it won't create any noise or whatever. So I think, we were asking, I think, is she there?
I just texted her, I haven't heard back yet. I just agreed to dial in and we'll call myself.
On there, that while we're waiting for her to get back to us. So the next people who can, or does anyone, Tanner, do you have something to say about, since you were going to be living, or Jay? This,
Oh, she's,
she may still be en route,
I think she's,
or she was in another meeting, but
Tammy says I'm on Zoom, just let me in.
she's on Zoom. Yeah,
okay.
she has to accept being a,
And then promote me as a participant.
You?
I did.
You?
Hello?
No, she has to accept it.
Yeah, I'm in. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Yeah, I can barely hear you folks. So what questions do you have for me?
Well, can you describe what you know of this project and how it came about?
Yeah, basically, they took a permit out to build a garage for their own personal use to work on their equipment and their vehicles and you know, equipment for his the septic install business, which is own personal use. And then they kind of came to me after that and said that they decided they want to try and do some low impact mechanical automotive repairs. I've been out there, I've inspected the garage. You know, we looked at the property together and I did go through some stuff with them and told them, you know, what I thought was working in their favor. And you know, but a lot of people don't live in this world like we do. So, you know, I kind of told them, you know, like, make sure that you mention the buffering that's already existing around your property. They did to say that they were going to do some additional plantings to even add some more shielding. Like he said, he did place the doors away from the roadway. And we did chat last night and they have done they put quite a lot of thought into this to making sure that they're not disruptive to their neighbors. So if they want to add on to that or elaborate, you know, maybe they could talk about the plantings that they're doing and the hours of operation they intend to do, and if there's going to be any noise impact or any fuel spillage or what their plans are around that. It might help the board understand a little bit better what they're doing, if that's helpful.
Want to address those, some of those things you told us about the garage doors earlier, how you were citing them, how parking would be off street, but do you want to?
So as far as the buffering, well, you saw the trees that I have in my car. 60 feet tall, nothing on the bottom. So, the plan is to eventually clear most of that along the road and then probably take some saplings and plant them on the road much to create buffer. Right now, they're just so tall, they're not covering anything. As far as hours of operation, we were thinking window between 7 and 6 at night. Not exactly those hours, but that we didn't know quite sure what hours he wanted to set as far as 7 in the morning to 6. Yeah.
7 to 6.
7 days a week, 5 days, a week, 2 days.
6 days a week for right now. But once again, it's demand. It might be less than that.
Then that's more of the hours. Say if we have somebody working 8 hours, like they might work 7 to 3, or have to work 10 to 6, depending on, you know, whatever comes up in your life, having one employee. Not saying we everything on having somebody work 7 to 6, 6 days a week. Just those are the times and the days that somebody might be in there. That makes sense.
And that
That makes more sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, you don't want to be open 7 to 6 and that's, I don't believe that would not be what you probably scared him to.
As far as petroleum products, we're gonna keep all the vehicles inside once they're doing maintenance. We'll have spill kit, have rags, and everything to pick that up. Waste oil, we're hoping to bring to the town. They have a waste oil furnace. If they do not accept any more or something like that, there's ways to get it to the mainland to dispose of it. So.
What are those ones? Yeah. Sorry.
Vehicle. We have vehicles. You know, we have a dump truck. We can put oil in there and bring it over with 50-gallon drums. I can't remember if Casco Bay Line still does that. They used to be able to pick up some oil products from dock and ship it, but they had to be sealed containers. But also, if the demand is there, possibly get the flatbed.
Oh, there's.
Remove junk vehicles or if the town needs a vehicle moved, you know, it would be here on the island to be able to do that. So.
How many hours a week would you estimate you need to work on I assume these are vehicles for the sand and gravel. Right, or your.
No, these would, the automotive would be for island service.
Well, no, I mean, you have this garage, so, and you said.
Yep.
If you are going to be repairing your business vehicles, so how many hours a week do you anticipate?
All
In your
depends.
digging equipment and
It
stuff?
all depends how many times it breaks.
Right,
So
but
I can't really,
with the ballpark, like. 10 hours.
you
So
know,
both phases are gonna be, you know, some of your work, some of,
Yeah.
Tanner's work, and or maybe even both phases Tanner's work. You have a piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Depending on the volume. Yeah.
Correct.
So it's gonna be.
So as far as for me, you know, my vehicle going there for an oil change, or there's an issue with the vehicle, I can't really tell you how long it would take. I might not have anything in there for 2-3 months.
Right.
And then
Hopefully.
have big things.
Yeah.
That's, so you never know. So I don't want it in there any longer than it has to. So.
Right. Okay, so you're not. Let's say 5 hours.
Yeah.
On
I would
average.
say on average, yeah, definitely 5 or less.
Okay.
We, I would say, but there's, just hoping to take better care of them. You know, by having place to.
And you wouldn't have storage of a lot of vehicles on the property.
No, we're planning to have a schedule so that it can be, you know, the one or two cars and one going out, not having them come wait to be worked on and then picked up. That's not what we want. We don't want to have mean, it's our house too, so I'm not planning on, that's one of the ways that I think it's been done on the island, that we're not, you know, really trying to make sure that that piece is worked out so that it's, the business is more desirable and appealing when it goes to be, so.
And they would. Yeah. Okay. Tammy or Cheryl, do you have anything to add?
And just about.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm just a little confused about roles here. Since the application's for home occupation, that would mean that the occupation is owned and operated by a member of the family residing in the dwelling unit. So is that the case here?
It is the case
Yes.
with 2 or less employees and with the employees.
It's on in section 414. So. 414A, the occupation is owned and or operated by a member of the family residing within the dwelling unit, and in the case of a home occupation, no more than 2 employees who are not members of the family are employed in the occupation. And in the case of a home-based occupation, the number of non-employees is limited to 3, provided that off-street parking is available for all employees, in addition to parking provided for customers. So these are, I assume that when you were thinking about opening a garage for not just your personal vehicles, you looked at section 414, which I just read.
Yep.
And then we'll get into the specific question after we hear from a butter. Tammy, do you have anything else to add right now?
The only thing that I would add is when I initially talked to them after I was out at the property, they have quite a bit of acreage. And the only thing that I think is important to note, is that this certainly seems accessory to the primary use, which is their residence and their homestead, essentially. You know, it's more of an incidental in nature, which I think is important. Because it shouldn't be more of a primary, it should be accessory, and they're certainly using it primarily as a homestead. So that would be the only other thing that I would add at this point.
How many acres do you have then?
7.
7. All right, so I think the next group, if do we have any other questions right now? Carol? Yeah. Okay, next we can have questions from members of other boards, if you wish, for the applicants. You're not off the hook yet. Oh, come on, I gotta go.
I didn't know if they had a conversation.
They have to come up too. You can stand on opposite sides. If we have, I know we have members of the board, the select board and the planning board. Do you guys have any specific questions?
Make sure you saw the clause where you do have to provide dog care services to the butters. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. No question.
Okay, so the next group is questions from those directly affected, which would probably be abutters. And I know we have a couple of abutters here. So if anyone has questions, actually, you could probably sit down. If we have questions from abutters, then stand up and come forward. Oh, okay, Eliza.
Stay there.
So you can answer. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you find them intimidating?
Oh,
I'd like to stand on the same side or opposite, or worry about that, but whatever. Eliza Jane Adams, so I'm actually, an abutter. We own the property directly next door with my husband Rockland, son Aaron Rockland, and his wife Samantha. So there's actually 4 of us that own it. We have a few questions. So is there, so the whole issue of waste and fluids, it's good, it's all inside, we're not gonna worry about leaking cars all over the place. Okay. Will you, I really appreciate that you talked about how to limit the number of cars that are there. Like I look at how another business is run down here, there's a certain number of cars. And instead, I think that's, one other question was really just having to do with buffering. So I'm getting questions on the phone from Eric and Sam to ask, and so I'm texting them that they appreciate the idea of the buffer. So that's all. We support this. As a butters, we support it. I think it looks like a good plan. Appreciate how it was set with the insulation in the doors. And there you go.
Thank you very much. Just to add, Nancy and Bob Ernest have written a letter in support of the project. They are abutters, right? So they have written, that's the only letter that we've gotten either pro or con. So are there other questions from abutters? Oh, come on up.
I'm Tracy Ames, live next door across the street. These guys were very helpful with us setting up our home. Wayne especially, it's like Rick was saying, and Jade and Tanner. I'm always in support of young people doing projects, coming out and starting something. We started a chainsaw business, and there were some problems with the noise being a problem with you guys. Had problems with Jeremy doing that is what came to his attention. Don't know if that was something that ever was resolved. It seemed like the code enforcer kind of steered away from that. So my concerns are noise. And you guys addressed the possibility of keeping it all indoors. So would there be parking on the outside road?
There would be nothing on the side, on the road side, everything would be in front of the garage, which, and if you have to come around the garage to see. So,
and then as far as runoff goes, you guys are asking about keeping it outdoors. That would be a concern with the aquifer. Would share that.
And the foundation as well, it's a 6-inch slab on
Buffer. I
They
love
were-
to help with that. Come into your area to shield that so it doesn't affect our property value. But that's wish you guys luck with it if it does get approved. The noise is the biggest thing, though. Ring, 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 all that sort of stuff. All day long. I'm not really digging that, but I can plant in our yard too, I guess, if we had to. I've seen other garages around and he seems to be all right. But,
I put, we put rock wool in the walls.
yeah, I don't really know what
Which is,
that means.
it's like it's like a cardboard of some sort. I'm not quite sure what exactly it is either, but it's a sound barrier.
Yeah.
It's made for
Yeah,
sound.
so I guess you guys are thinking of all these things, trying to work. I don't know, like long term, like 5 years down the road. You guys put in your other garage, would there be just 2 garages doing the same thing and build them? How big would this get? Would be my concern. Is it commercially zoned there or?
No, this is why they need a special exception, because it's island residential.
Yeah.
So we could grant a special exception and there could be conditions, for instance, if
I think that
when we had the portable saw
Yes.
the specs had. And one of the conditions was that he could only use it during certain hours and not on Sunday, as I recall. So that would certainly be a consideration, and also that would input from abutters would be really helpful about that. They've already said they're not operating on Sunday, but
So the only thing left we have is that, the front doors aren't in yet. I'm hoping to have those at the end of the month. They've been on order for 6 weeks now, so. And then the ceiling is not insulated yet, so the sound barrier is not complete yet.
I've
So
been working on your machine for years now. We haven't heard anything, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other abutters or on okay.
I also want to just speak in support, it's good for the island to have small
Can you
businesses.
identify yourself?
Oh, sorry, Blue Betham, I live across the street, these guys, and, right next to the garage. I think, my concerns have basically already been sound, operation, whether or not. So basically, courtesy, but full support. Yeah. Love the idea you guys have a business here, manage our estate, but broken empire a few times. I recommend him as a mechanic. Love to see that in movies. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? No? Let's move on to the question, actual questions. As a problem. So when we filled out this application, you were asked 7 questions, which I will ask you now, and we can go over them. And if at that, you can explain, if we have further questions. How long do you?
Okay, Board of Adjustment Appeals, however, will set and or review require the applicant shall after the submission of the complete application, the board shall approve. Sam's already read this out. The proposed use, this is number 1 of the criteria. The proposed use will not create hazards to vehicular or pedestrian traffic on the roads and sidewalks serving the proposed use as determined by the size and condition of such roads and sidewalks, lighting, drainage, intensity of use by both pedestrians and vehicles and the visibility afforded to pedestrians and the operators of motor vehicles. So, is the proposed use will it create those hazards as listed?
Let's say, no.
So like your road, no, we weren't quite sure exactly what you were asking from us. The garage, the reason for it is the way the garage is facing, so that people aren't just driving in and driving out that short distance, 60, go all the way around. Access to the garage.
So you just filled in then. May have been added to the no.
Yeah, so
Yeah. And, there are kids, especially in the summer, kids riding their bikes, walking, dogs,
Yep.
people,
So
golf
the
carts, so.
our driveway would be clear, so it'd be visible at both ends, so we get it out in the front.
Don't feel like the light there and all that. Well, I would say, okay.
Well, Canada's fast, but also if it's working on a vehicle and anticipate it's gonna be in there. Maybe, parking out maybe once or twice a day, depending on what kind of work is being done with the vehicle. It's not like, prompt to oil change, anything where you just drive through.
Okay.
We're not fast.
The proposed use will not cause water pollution, sedimentation, erosion, contaminate any water supply or reduce the capacity of the land to hold water so that a dangerous, unpleasant, and unhealthy condition may result.
Once again, we put no, our well is like 30 feet away from the building, so contaminants are really important to me. That's why everything is going to be contained inside the building itself.
And you have a slab.
I do have a slab, a 6-inch slab. Yep.
Was there any kind of dust containment like this, anything that's hard?
Not that we do a lot of audio.
I don't know. Oh, okay.
Sorry, yes,
I know
and that's,
nothing about cars.
right.
I'll turn on the radio. Okay. Cheryl? Okay.
Do I have any questions on the water pollution question? Is that what you were asking?
Yes.
No.
Okay, on to the next.
Number 2, comment 3. All proposed is sewerage system. No, no. Just put the page.
Oh, it didn't come out with any.
Yeah, I'll just put it on.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Three, here's
Page number 3, sorry. The proposed use will not create unhealthy conditions because of smoke, dust, and other airborne contaminants. Want to do that?
That, no, work inside.
Also would be fine.
Or for employees, not just neighbors and residents. For employees.
Okay, number 4, the proposed use will be compatible with uses that are adjacent to a neighboring proposed location. Is measured in terms of physical size, intensity of use, visible impact, and proximity to other structures, and the scale and bulk of any new structures for the proposed use shall be compatible with structures existing or permitted to be constructed on neighboring property. Compatibility.
Side, parallel to what's.
Comparable to my house. It's actually small. So,
And it's gonna have siding where it look like your house.
Oh, we do have siding.
yes, the
There's a
siding.
tile in front of it. So you can get it. We,
Yeah.
yes.
Haven't gone to that.
So it'll be finished
Yes.
to the same standard as the house.
Correct,
Yes,
yeah.
it will. Oh, better.
Shall be moving along here.
Okay, 5, the proposed use will not create nuisances to neighboring properties because of odors, fumes, glare, hours of operation, noise, vibration, or fire hazard, or restrict access of light and air to neighboring properties.
I think we addressed all of that, all those, prior, so, unless there's other questions.
You did read.
I have a question.
Yeah,
I have a little bit of a background with auto repair businesses. And in fact, the reason that it's on the list of businesses is because of when David started his in 1995. And of course, his shop was in a much more densely built area, although it was in the business district, but you know, whatever. One thing that we did run into is in the summertime. Now, we had lots of windows and he would open them and the noise would escape. And I think that hours of operation are really key. And the sound wasn't great when you were talking about that. But I think that it's really easy, especially I know Bo, he just works and works and works. But I think having specific hours of operation would help if there is any noise that escapes. I mean, those impact wrenches are loud. So that, I guess that's basically my question is, you know, in the summertime, will the windows be open? Will the noise escape? And I wasn't able to hear what the hours of operation are going to be.
so we didn't really set up hours. We're just saying it's not gonna be any earlier than 7 o'clock in the morning and not any later than 6. So, you know, whether the door is open at 8 o'clock or, you know, so. Either. So,
You guys have any windows on the roads on the ground?
Correct.
Any
Every-
business.
no windows in the garage at all. There's 2 side doors. And then there's the 2 big front doors towards facing my house.
I guess I would just ask if we find, that noise does escape. I mean, I understand you get the rock wall and whatever. Maybe as neighbors, we can just request, like, maybe on Saturdays and Sundays, you know, do it or whatever. I don't know that we need anything, you know, you guys don't have to establish absolute business hours through this process maybe, but if it is loud, I mean, we have, you know, 1, maybe 2 days a week where we can kind of be in the yard as a family, so maybe I'll come to you and mention it if we can, if it is loud, impact wrenches, like this sound.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because the last thing we want is that to bother anybody in the neighborhood. I mean, that would it's not our intention, it's nothing. I say, having a graduation party, like, okay.
That's why we put the vocals in there to try to lower the sound. And, you know, we're trying to do whatever we can to lower the sound. You know, we put it at the bottom of the driveway too, because if we put it at the top of the driveway, it echoes. Here makes it important.
Yeah.
So.
Nancy?
I just want you to be able to feel that if you're doing something quiet and oil change isn't particularly loud, that you can have the garage doors open on a nice day. I don't want you to feel like, oh, she said everything was enclosed. I want, you know, guys have demonstrated common sense that you're gonna do something loud, you're gonna be protecting your own ears, and if you're putting something on your ears, close the door.
Yeah. And then it's stuff like.
Tracy and Eliza, do you have any concerns about those issues, the noise issues?
No, they've addressed them.
Okay. And you feel you could just talk to them, because we can impose conditions, but it would be better, far better, more neighborly to be able to have you guys come and say, hey, I know Saturday is my one morning to sleep, so could you not check it's loud?
Listen, the muffler falling off our car, we can't re-weld another one. My car is probably louder than anything you're gonna have going on here. So, we're good, and,
Unless your car's in the garage.
welcome this business to the island and to the neighborhood, so looks good. No, it's good from all.
As a board member, I really appreciate how supportive your neighbors are and how receptive they are to having an informal arrangement with you rather than something where you just don't. So thank you for doing that. It sounds like you talked to them also about it. You can just spring it on them. Okay, so back to the question.
We're down to number 6.
Whoa.
The proposed location for the use has no particular physical characteristics due to its size, shape, topography, or soils, which will create or aggravate adverse environmental impacts on the surrounding property.
Yeah.
I don't swear to that, anything.
Little ponds or anything in there. Yeah, so. Okay.
Okay, lastly, the proposed use has no unusual characteristics atypical of the generic use in the neighborhood, which proposed use would appreciate the economic values of surrounding.
He said no, we weren't quite sure exactly what the question meant, but.
Your butters feel that their properties are going to be diminished in value by all and merit to do it.
They've been established there for I was there.
So we're willing to work with them, and they're like, you know, you guys are getting too crazy, you put some trees or something, you know. The siding will eventually go up the building. But I have time, yeah, exactly, so.
Okay.
The other one that we normally deal with is, the shoreline zone, but they're not in.
Yeah.
None.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
We won't have to worry about
Okay, then do we have any other questions from, or comments from anyone? I don't know if the code officer is still here, she's not, but. Okay, then we're gonna close this hearing to public comments and we'll start the deliberation and discussion phase. So, thank you. So, Cheryl?
We have determined that it is a home occupation and we have determined that the applicant meets the requirements for a special exception. And also in that same section, it speaks of if the special exception is approved, that it would go to the planning board for site plan review. Is that correct?
You would still, if we approve it, you would still need to go for the planning site plan review. Which also is to your benefit. It's provides more transparency for the process. Okay. Yeah, so I think section 414 is all that answered the way it should be. I believe we have answers in the 7 questions on the application. Satisfactorily. We don't need to impose any special restrictions because if we were to approve it, because you agree to work with your neighbors over the issue, and if a large issue does arise,
You're gonna be a brother,
that's right.
which we don't want you to do.
Yeah.
Right? So take it first.
Or talk to the code officer about it.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Cheryl?
Yes, ma'am.
you
Yes,
wanna
ma'am.
suggest
Should I make a motion that we approve the special exception?
to what? The rest of this.
Special exception for home occupation? I have just see if I have it
Want to
right.
go
in
over
front of me.
quickly the 7 questions?
Oh,
You wanna
okay.
vote on- Cheryl, go ahead. and
Are
vote.
we're gonna vote
Seven
on them?
things, or do you wanna?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we
Yes.
can, I mean, the other thing.
We should.
Yeah, hey, Sam,
We can-
can I just add something? I did not go through the section of the home occupation of, that said that they needed this special exception, but I don't remember seeing anything where it's a special exception for home occupation that they need planning board approval for site plan approval. I don't remember reading that, or I probably would have told them that. So I just want to make sure that they know, if that actually is the case, because to me, this was a home occupation, accessory and incidental to the primary use of the structure. And obviously, if his business grows and it becomes an automotive shop rather than a home occupation, they would need that. But I don't remember reading that in that section. So I just wanted to make sure that that was correct. And I don't have
It
the
is-
ordinance open in front of me.
You do need it because according to the section 204 district regulations, even though it's a home occupation, there's no category for auto service repair garage. But
Okay.
there, in the residential district, there is such an exception in the island business zone, section 13, 14. So,
13 in the residential, yeah. 1.B.
right, so yeah, so 13 says home,
Any use permitted in the island business subject to site plan review, and then under 14 on the, in the Island Business District is auto repair services listed.
Yeah, so it's sort of circular.
Talking
So
about
it is-
All right.
section 204. Correct? Of the zoning ordinance?
Section
Correct.
2.
204.1.b, 204.1.b, 13 says any use permit in a business subject to site plan review, and then under 204.2, 14, A, is auto service garage is one of those listed.
So it's sort of, first you go to section 414 and see if you qualify or you
Yep,
feel that.
yep, no, thank you for clarifying.
So they would leave that. We're on to
Question one. Make a motion that proposed use, will not create hazards to vehicular pedestrian traffic on the roads, and the sidewalk serving the proposed use as determined by the size and condition of such roads and sidewalks, lighting, drainage, intensity of use by both pedestrians and vehicles, and the visibility afforded to pedestrians and the operators of motor vehicles.
I
I'll do a
second. Second?
all in favor? All in favor?
Okay, item 2, the proposed use will not cause water pollution, sedimentation, erosion, contaminating water supply, nor will reduce the land to hold water, which is more on the should. So, dangerous and aesthetically unpleasant and unhealthy conditions.
Did you move that, Tad? I'll second it.
All in favor? Okay.
Okay, so the criteria, the proposed use will not create unhealthy conditions because of dust or other airborne.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Make a motion number 4, I make a motion that the proposed use will be compatible with the uses that are adjacent to and neighboring proposed location as noted in terms of its physical size, intensity of use, visual impact, and proximity to other structures, and the scale and bulk of any new structures for the proposed use shall be compatible with structures existing or permitted to be constructed on neighboring property.
I second.
All in favor?
5, the proposed use will not create nuisances to neighboring properties because of those regular hours of operation, noise, vibration, or fire hazard, or restrict access of light and air to neighboring.
Second.
All in favor?
Number 6, the proposed location for the use has no particular physical characteristics due to its size, topography, or soils which will create or aggravate adverse environmental impacts surrounding the property.
I second.
All in favor?
And lastly, number 7, the proposed use has no, I make a motion, excuse me, that the proposed use has no unusual characteristics atypical of the generic use in the neighborhood, which proposed use will appreciate the economic value of surrounding properties.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, so finally, may I make a motion that the application for a special exception to section 204(1)(b) for home occupation auto repair service garage for property located at 326, right? North Road, lot 506-025. Be approved without condition.
Now, do we have to put it inside?
We approve it and then we can add without conditions, but subject to site plan review and approval by the planning.
Does that sound right,
Does
Cheryl?
that sound good, Cheryl?
Yes, mm-hmm. I second.
All in favor? Okay, well. I need to-
Make a motion, we adjourn.
All in favor, seconds?
Second.
All right.
Bye, everybody. See you soon. Thank you,
Yeah.
Chip.
Thanks, Gary. Trying to figure out the rest.
I just wrote another.